Hello everyone and welcome to Metro TV. I'm your host Andy Hoig, publisher and CEO of Metro Magazine. We have a special episode today talking with organizations, nonprofits, and businesses about how they're being impacted and also dealing with the coronavirus. So don't go away, we will be right back. Well, I'm here with Linda Toomey. She is the Executive Director of the Sienna Francis House. Linda, thank you for joining me today.
I'm glad to be here, Andy. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, first we talked months ago and talked about like the opening and the expansion of what you're doing at the Sienna Francis House, which was a great story. And
yes,
we might touch on that a little bit, but kind of now in the throes of what's happening with this coronavirus. I mean, the homeless and people that can't necessarily help themselves,
yes,
they're so at risk. So
yes,
let's talk about that and what's going on.
So I think on a basic level, homeless people are more at risk for communicable diseases because they don't have the access to the things that we all have access to. So that's one thing, one barrier for them. The second is a lot of them have underlying medical problems. COPD, diabetes, living outside decreases your lifespan, things like that. So those conditions make them a lot more susceptible for it to being serious and it being something that if you or I got it, it may be a cold. For them, it could become life-threatening. So the homeless population is certainly at a lot more risk right now.
Yeah. So what is your organization doing? I mean, how are you kind of dealing with this? I mean, at the time of this conversation, I mean, this will air maybe a few days later, but this conversation, we're about a week into it for the most part.
So we have on average about 550 people who sleep on our campus daily.
Okay.
We have been putting together a very thorough COVID-19 response, and it has several different areas to it. One is staff preparedness. We have done training with our staff on hand hygiene, on using personal protective equipment to prevent the spread of the disease. We've been doing education with our staff and our clients on those things. We also are introducing a social distancing campaign because we have about 425 individuals that live in shelter at a given time. There's not a lot of space between folks. So we're working on social distancing, doing a lot of education, changing our operations to encourage those social distancing things, like having people sleep head to toe in the bunks instead of head to head to increase the personal space between them. Talking about decreasing the number of people in the dining room at a given time. So there are a lot of considerations about our operations. We have a COVID-19 kind of planning team that meets every day. We're changing this plan every day. We're integrating more and more things. We're learning from other communities who've had some, like New York, for example, we're looking at what their shelters are doing, and they've had some COVID-19 a little ahead of us and a little more of an outbreak, so we're learning from other communities. We also are talking to our partner agencies and each other a lot, like, what are you doing? Like, I just had a conversation with an agency out of Lincoln right before I came, and we're talking about what are we all doing and what can we learn from one another.
Yeah. I mean, so many important things. So let's talk about what are your biggest needs right now?
Yeah, our biggest needs are really hand sanitizers, like Clorox wipes, Lysol disinfectants, books. Now that we're asking people to socially isolate, we opened our dorms in the shelters so people can stay in them all day long. That's a change in operations. So we're encouraging people to stay in their bed and read if they need to socially isolate and do those things to keep themselves safe. But our biggest things are like disinfecting wipes and disinfectant right now.
So what do you do when you can't find any of that? I mean, I've actually looked on Amazon. I mean, I guess maybe you need to go to the World Wide Web to buy those products because they're kind of limited right now.
They're really limited. And you know, the things that are happening to you as a consumer are happening to us as an agency. We put them in the cart, we go to check out, and they take them out of the cart and they say they're not available, even if it showed they were available. So right now we are asking staff, if you're out anywhere and you see them, pick them up and we will reimburse you. That's how critical our need is. The other thing is, we've worked with our cleaning suppliers and our chemical suppliers, and they're giving us disinfectants. So we have things for backup, but those are things that we can give to a client who says, I want to wipe off my bed. Or, you know, I want to spray my bed down or disinfect something. That's why we really need those. We have cleaners as backups, but we really need those items too.
Yeah, that's really good to know. And, you know, we talked a little bit your staff. I mean, they're in the trenches. I mean, you're in the trenches like you first said at the beginning of the conversation and they have to be in the trenches.
Yes. We never close, and there's a lot more demand on us. You know, other social services agencies have reduced hours and some have stopped for safety, and we understand that. We're in a different position because we provide emergency housing. We are trying to let a few staff work from home, but most of our staff do direct service work, so we need to do that. We also need to do that for our clients, keeping things kind of normal, keeping their mental health as well as possible is important. So most of our staff are coming to work, and they're really dedicated to this work. We have a wonderful group of staff, and I think if you weren't, you probably wouldn't be in this business anyway.
And I have a quick question that's not on the sheet, that's not on my talking points. Do your clients, I mean, do they know what's going on? I mean, are there TVs? I mean, are they watching the news? I mean,
so that's a great piece about our education. Not only are we trying to educate our staff about how is COVID transmitted between people, we're trying to educate the clients. We are increasing the times that the news is on in the shelter, and both the men and women have areas where they have access to the TV. We're increasing that. We're doing a lot of poster campaigning. We're having town hall meetings with our clients and talking about these things.
That's great.
So one of their feedback to us was, we want more access to the news. So now we have the news on from 5 to 7 at least every night, and we're showing videos on social isolation and all of those things to give them the education they need. But they said we need more education.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes the news can be a little overwhelming, but it's also important. So I mean, I was just curious about that, is how are they being educated?
We have Wi-Fi there for our guests, so some use their phones and things like that, but some don't have phones, and they said, we're not getting good information. So that has been a consideration we've made in our planning.
Good. So how can people find out more about the Sienna Francis House?
So Share Omaha is one place where you can look at our needs. We also have our needs on our website. We use a lot of social media. Every Wednesday we put out a what we need, kind of our highest things list. So that's also on our website. So one way would be to go to siennafrancishouse.org. No house, just siennafrancis.org.
And again, I mean, I will show this. This was our February cover, and it really was talking about, you know, the new building, the expansion, what you're doing, and all the good things in the community are doing. And then, you know, we're kind of in the midst of definitely of a crisis. So, but would encourage people to check this out too at spiritofomaha.com and read about everything that you're doing. But now, you know, things have, there's kind of a new focus.
There is a new focus. And, you know, the new building is a great gift to us right now, because it is allowing us to do some of the things that we're talking about. We also have not torn down the old women's shelter, and we're considering using that for a quarantine unit when we need it, or an isolation unit, and we're working with Douglas County Health Department on those things. So the building, actually the timing probably couldn't have been better. It's helping us a lot in this crisis.
So Linda, thank you so much for joining me today, and we will be right back. Well, I'm here with Marjorie Moss. She is the Executive Director of Share Omaha. I've known Marjorie for, oh my gosh, decades. But Marjorie, thank you for joining me today.
Andy, it means so much that you invited us to have us on.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of we are in an interesting time right now. So Share Omaha, let's just talk about Share Omaha.
Sure, just in case people aren't aware, Share Omaha primarily runs shareomaha.org, which is very much a conduit between the public that wants to get involved with the community and nonprofits that have causes and needs that will resonate with them. We help find the fit for those new volunteers, for donors, for people who want to shop wish lists, and we make it really easy.
Yeah.
And we have 413 members as of today.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
So we launched with 150 back in January of 2019.
Yeah.
And we hit our stride regarding membership, so we're excited about that.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about what Share Omaha is doing with the coronavirus and everything going on, because people are looking for information and nonprofits are being impacted.
They are being impacted. This is a dynamic time. And I will tell you that last Friday we put out a Google form to our nonprofit members in an email and said, just tell us how it's changing. Tell us what your landscape looks like, what's been canceled, what your programming needs have they been affected, and what you need most right now, and what $20 will do toward your mission at this time.
Yeah.
We had within 2 hours 30 nonprofits fill that out.
Yeah.
Today we have 115 that have filled it out of our 400 members that are saying this gala got canceled, our concert series got canceled, our performance season is over. Our classes for kids that we do every day, where we rely on the payments kids can of parent subsidies and child payments, those are all canceled.
Yeah.
So revenue streams, cash flows to organizations that have had stable programs are all questioning how are they going to do this without eating into that rainy day fund. And maybe and for some that is that time to do that, but you don't want to deplete all your resources, right?
Right, and I know a lot of organizations have canceled things, but they've also postponed things, which postponing is,
feels different.
It is a little different because, like Wine, Women, and Shoes, Children's Hospital postponed till July. I mean, we don't know what July holds, but some of these organizations are postponing, and they can find information out about that as well.
Exactly, and some of them have posted on our website. We have a special page dedicated to this, which is linked on our homepage, shareomaha.org, but it's shareomaha.org/COVID-19, no hyphen.
Okay.
And that lists in alphabetical order the nonprofits that have said, this is how I've been affected, this is what we need most, and this is how you can help. And there's volunteer opportunities. We give a disclaimer that abide by what you would do to be safe anywhere, but feel comfortable if you are motivated to do something. There's things you can do from your home.
Yeah.
There's things you can do from your home with your family, drop things off, purchase things, give them in kind to nonprofits, shop Amazon wish lists. There's so many opportunities for you to do something and feel empowered that you're not just helpless in the situation.
Yeah, and that's such a great point, and it's such a great, I posted some stuff on my Facebook about how can I contribute, what can I do to contribute, but looking at the nonprofits and helping them with wish list items, with things that they need, or monetary money financial is wonderful, but this isn't just a 2-week deal, or 2-month deal.
I would suggest that cash is king right now for organizations. They're in-kind items, yes, and people are telling you what they need. Pay attention to what they need. But even the food bank, they can buy 3 times the amount of food that your 1 can cost to buy at the store.
Yes.
So be cognizant of that.
Yeah.
They know how to best use their resources, and they have the best supply chains if those are still running. So let's keep them running.
Yeah.
The other thing is regarding cash investment, if you bought a ticket to a gala, if you bought a ticket to a concert, try not to ask for a refund at this time.
Yeah.
Try, if you can, let that stay in the cash flow of the organization.
That's a great point. That's a really good point.
And a night out canceled for us can mean a third of a budget for an organization that needs that gala to survive.
Yeah.
So think about continuing your donations, what you would have spent at the silent auction, what you would have spent on your ticket price to go to that concert. Consider donating that if you have the resources. And we want to make sure that people know that there are volunteer ways that you can get involved, and that there's in-kind ways that don't cost as much, and there's ways that $20 make a difference.
Yeah.
So figuring out what works for you in this time will help everybody feel empowered, and that we're working toward this together, and that we want those organizations that were there prior to this to be there to support us afterwards.
And also get your family involved, or your business involved, or your team members involved.
Yes.
Really important.
Very important.
And I also want to say, so Core Bank, I want to
Thank you.
give a shout out to them. Talk to me
Thank you.
about what
So
they're doing.
We are a customer of Core Bank, and we were working with them on a special promotion for something else, and we pivoted to this public information campaign, and they said, yes, we will underwrite that with you.
Yeah.
And so with their support, we get to share this a little bit more boldly than we would if it was only public service announcements
Yeah.
and things of that nature. So
Absolutely.
and media stations are being very generous with,
Yeah.
with our requests for PSAs, but Core Bank has been crucial. That investment was crucial in making sure that we can get the message out regarding our page, regarding these resources, regarding how you can help,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So-
So where can people go to find out information?
ShareOmaha.org, and if you're so motivated, /COVID-19.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, Marjorie, thank you so much for joining me today. And we'll catch up like in the next month or two
Please.
to kind of see where things
Please.
are at and how people can continue to help.
Like I said, it's dynamic. It's changing
Yeah.
every day. If we can be
Yeah.
available, we will be.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
And we will be right back. Well, I'm here with Lindsay Ray Corton. She is the CEO of the Ronald McDonald House Charities in Omaha. Lindsay, my friend, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
yeah.
Love being here with you, Andy.
I know. Interesting times
Yeah,
right now.
really is.
So we chatted the other day, and I really just want to talk about how the Ronald McDonald House Charities has been impacted by what's going on right now.
You know, it's really interesting from our perspective because for us, outside of what's going on in the community, this is business as usual for us. So every year we deal with the same risk because we work with such a vulnerable patient population. We are always at risk, whether it's norovirus or the flu. And so our standard practices that are now being shouted out to the world are what we do every single day. And so in terms of protecting families, we're doing the exact same things that we always have. Obviously, there's staff working from home, and that's a little different, and we're struggling a little bit because we don't know what's going to happen with the amount of donations that normally come in with food and to help keep the lights on and things like that. So we're trying to do some creative things to make sure the families still get fed who are there and have the support that they need.
Okay, so we're going to talk about those creative things. How can people help?
So there's two ways for people to help right now. So having direct support for the family so that they can continue to have a great place to stay while their child is getting treated at Nebraska Medicine. So it can be something as small as $20 a month, and that helps that family stay one more day and have the care that they need. So we've got this program called League of Extraordinary Givers, and for $20 a month you can do that. So it's like 1 cup of coffee a week if you don't go through. So that's pretty easy. But also, we really need meals. So we have this great program called Meals That Heal every night where we have different volunteer groups that come in and make dinner for all the families, but we can't have anybody in the house right now. So we're dropping off at curbside. And so the more people that we can kind of have contribute to that, the more wholesome environment we can provide for all the families that continue to need our services most.
Yeah. So before we kind of go in there, I just want to backtrack for a minute. What is, just tell me the mission of the Ronald McDonald House.
Oh, sure.
Let's just talk about that for just a second.
So specifically, we take care of the most vulnerable pediatric population who has to travel to Omaha because they can't get the health care needs in their hometown.
Okay.
So the amazing hospital facilities that we're surrounded by in Omaha take care of the treatment side of it, and then the family comes to stay as a home at the Ronald McDonald House and everything that's included in a home, and then some, to have the support to heal in the time that they're receiving treatment.
Yeah, okay. I just, as we were talking, and that, my bad, I should have asked that question to begin with,
It's
right
okay.
after that. So let's go back. How can people, because I really want to focus on how people can help. And we were talking earlier, so like Catering Creations, I'm just going to give them a shout out and some love because they did our big event and they've been so amazing with what we do. you know, I've been talking to them about creating, you know, having a meal delivered to the home.
Yeah.
When I talked to Lori the other day, who's Lori is your...
She's our special projects coordinator and handles all of the dinner stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I said, how many people? She's like 30, you know,
Yeah.
for 30. And so I've been working with Catering Creation. So they're going to prepare a meal and bring it out to the house. I think she said right now at this point, it's probably going to change by the time this airs. But she
Yeah.
said like the 25th. But they had meals up to the 25th, but after that they had nothing. So it really is important for people to step up and reach out. And you were talking about restaurants.
Yeah, so there's two different ways if you want to come and help provide a meal for the house at night. You can either provide all of the ingredients to make a great meal, and we'll make it in-house. If you're willing to drop it off, we'll make it. Or you can tap into all of these great restaurants in town who really need our help. And we have an option to help out the local restaurants. If you're willing to buy a meal for 30 people and use one of the local restaurants, we're working with them right now to see if we can get some discounted pricing. So Flight Deck has agreed to give discounted pricing to anyone that chooses to go and buy a meal from there. We're also working with the Magnolia Hotel and a couple other restaurants to get them on board. And as we have these discounts presented to us, we'll put all of those on our website, and then you have this array of places that you can go that are willing to make all of the food, and all you have to do is deliver it.
Right.
Yeah.
So important. So how can people learn more about Ronald McDonald House?
rmhcomaha.org is our website, and we're keeping that updated with everything that's going on, and obviously our social media pages, so everything from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of the regular channels to kind of see what we need. And we're a house, so we need the same stuff that you do. We have to eat. We need, you know, hand sanitizer. We need towels. We need all the same things that you do at home. Yeah.
So I'm gonna have you on my podcast. So we're gonna continue this conversation.
I would love that.
Yeah. So Lindsay, thank you so much
Thank
for joining
you.
me today.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
And we will be right back. Well, I'm here with Nick Hudson, a good friend of mine, but also founder of Omaha Fashion Week and Omaha Event Group. So Nick, thank you for joining me.
It's my pleasure.
Today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so we're talking, you know, kind of the focus and subject of today's interviews are about the, you know, the coronavirus and how it's impacting nonprofits and also other businesses in the community. And you being, to me, you know, you've got 3 or 4 different or more different event venues, and a lot of nonprofits had events scheduled. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about that and kind of how it's impacting you, and then how you're helping accommodate, you know, either postponements or what's going on. So
yes, I mean it's unprecedented times. Obviously, the priority is about keeping people safe as a whole community.
Yeah,
and so we feel like we've been working on it, you know, obviously for weeks now, and it gets more dramatic every day at the moment. But we're obviously not doing any events until the end of April,
right,
as mandated by sort of local and national government.
Right.
And so for those people, and I have to say, I mean, our team has been amazing. We've obviously we've got 300 events that we have. You know, that we plan a year. So there's a lot of different things, and obviously to every event customer, it's a very important day.
Yeah.
Whether you're for a wedding or for a non-profit event or a creative event, you know, it's a very complicated thing. There's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about those moving parts, because, you know, it's not just, I mean, you've got, we're just take nonprofits, for example. So you've got the nonprofit piece, they're coming out and raising funds. But then there's also all the different people that are involved in an event.
Yes.
So talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, well, so broadly what we're doing is our team is helping people, anybody, you know, through March, April, and May. May obviously is still unknown at the moment, but you know, if the event needs to move, then we're helping them move, and we're sort of absorbing any of the, you know, fees as part of that move. In moving into later in 2020, I mean, taking the nonprofits, the ones we've spoken to, have said that they can't afford to not have their event.
Yeah, so
because
they
it's raising essential funds. You
Yeah.
know. So we're basically, I mean, there's plenty of event availability, data availability. So we're helping people just sort of move things around.
Yeah.
And then we're having to keep being flexible, you know, as we're going along.
Right.
So, but those ones, obviously all affected through April, and then some of the May ones, you know, as well. And then in terms of the people, you know, it's difficult. Obviously, we've closed down. You know, we've got 4 different venues and 3 other businesses all associated in events and the arts. So it's a very tough time for all the people involved in that. We're very busy in some ways dealing with the customers, but for the people involved in the actual events, you know, we've done all the deep cleaning of the buildings, but now those buildings are basically closed, you know, for a decent period of time.
And let me ask you this, are you finding, so I know typically nonprofits that or whether it's a nonprofit or a corporate event or a wedding, but let's just stick to nonprofits and corporate events.
Yeah.
You know, they have their event on like a certain night of the week. Are people having to get like a little creative and saying, you know what, we'll have it on a Tuesday this year versus a Thursday or a weekend? I mean,
and I think everybody's being very understanding, and say, you know, you've got an event coming up in May, well, you might have to be telling your audience and your community that okay, the date's still on at the moment, but we'll let you know.
Yep.
And maybe we've already worked out a backup date with somebody so that they can sort of do that planning. So that's what the team's busy doing at the moment. But it's very difficult. There's a lot of people who are obviously independent workers associated with events. Whether they're artists, whether they're photographers, whether they're event production people, you know, who might be independently employed, and they're really struggling at the moment. I mean, it's just causing a big crisis for everybody.
Well, I have a feeling July, which is usually very slow with events, I see a lot of events that have been coming through that are postponing are now in July. So
that's right.
So let's just keep having this conversation, because I know so many of the nonprofits that I work with have events at the Omaha Design Center.
Yeah.
You have the Empire Room.
Yeah. Palazzo as well, and the Downtown Club. And so, the team's just busy talking to them about coming up with either a changing the date or a backup plan, and then we can keep reviewing it, especially when we get to that period of about 4 weeks before the event.
Yeah.
If we're still in an unknown situation, our advice is then let's try and move it to a different date.
Yeah. Interesting times. You just have to be flexible and open. So
it is hard, and I have to say I'm just so impressed by how. I mean, it's scary times as well. You know, both in terms of a community health point of view, but also you know, people are worried about where they're going to pay their bills and things from. So it's just very, very complicated. But I think people are being really positive. Everybody's very busy. They're doing it. We actually had a large amount of bookings for new events at the end of the year and for next year.
Okay.
Because I think actually people are starting to get worried about dates getting taken up.
Yeah. So, well, Nick, thank you so much. People can learn more about Omaha Event Group at omahaeventgroup.com.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And then obviously omahafashionweek.com is doing things with the people who are affected by the artists and the gig economy workers. There's information on there.
Should have Brooke back on the show to talk about that. So,
all
right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we will be right back. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. You can find out more about Metro Magazine and so many wonderful nonprofits. Go to spiritofomaha.com, and please follow us on Facebook, like us on Facebook, Metro Magazine, all one word. We'll be posting a lot of information there as well. Thank you, and we will see you back here next week.